Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited you decided to join me today. I'm also really hopeful that maybe now it sounds like I'm using my new mic because I recently discovered that there's two different settings in my MacBook to make sure that I'm checking the right one to make sure you can actually hear from said new microphone that I talked about in the previous two videos. Anyway, I'm so excited that you could join me today for this speed build in The Sims. We're building a YouTuber, like, roommate's house. Yeah, kind of fun, kind of fresh, something interesting. I don't think I've ever built anything in Del Sol Valley, which is, like, the world that comes with Get Famous, which is kind of, like, LA, based. And so, yeah, that's what we're doing today. It just ends up being a 2-bedroom, and then there's like a garage turned into a studio, a pretty nice kitchen, a kind of fancy dining room and office that you could turn into another bedroom if you wanted. But yeah, just imagine there was two female people, YouTubers living here. There's kind of a really fun backyard. I imagine they were kind of some kind of maybe like beauty influencers or something like that. I didn't really imagine they were like makeup or like mega fashionistas. I imagine that one of them actually maybe did like tarot card readings or like something a little bit more spiritual. I'm not quite sure what I mean by that, but something along those lines. Yeah, I was also kind of inspired to build something in Delta Valley because at the time when I was building this, I had just started listening/reading. I mean, it's like reading, but like also it's not because it's an audiobook, to The Lost Hero, which is a Percy Jackson series, like by Rick Riordan. Oh my god, I don't even know. Words are hard. This is like the most I'm gonna have talked all day, because I'm recording this on Black Friday. Oh, here comes my dog. She's gonna demand attention. I'm also sorry if you can hear her. But this is the most I've talked all day to an adult or to literally anyone because, as I said, it's a Black Friday and I have not really left my house at all and or spoken out loud. And so the thoughts that come out I can hold no credit for because I've had no practice speaking today like I normally do. But usually I'm just like tired of speaking because that's all I do. And now on, like, holidays, it's like I don't talk at all because I pretty much live alone because my younger sister who lives with me goes down and visits her parents. So then I'm just here all by myself, living life to the fullest, aka playing Sims, editing Sims, crocheting. Oh, here, now comes my dog. Yes, hello, Thea. You wanted to be a part of it? Oh, she has a toy cigarette in her mouth that I threw for her, so hopefully that wasn't too distracting. She might come back with it. Oh, yes. Just a lovely game of fetch right now with your toy cigarette. These came from one of my friends when he was visiting. Oh! When he was visiting, he had them in his car, and I was like, oh my god, can I have these for Thea? And he's like, yeah, they were actually for a different dog. Okay, Thea, we can't play fetch the whole time. I know you want to, but I left the door open for you so that you wouldn't make too much loud of a noise, and now I fear you're making even louder of a noise by being in here. But anyway, he was like, yeah, I was meant to do that to my other friend, but now they don't have that dog anymore, blah, 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 blah. And so I got the pack of cigarette toys, which is very fun, very fresh, very exciting. Anyway, we're just finishing up the bathroom. There's 2 bathrooms in this build. That's, I guess, one thing I didn't say. They are identical, so you'll see me in a second here copy them over. This one has like a purple color scheme to it, and the other one has more of a blue color scheme to it. But other than that, they're literally identical. We're the same shape and everything. It is kind of awkward that the toilet's on that side, but I believe that that's the side that it needs to be on for the shower tub combo to be, playable. And here you see I've like copied it over, just changed the color of a couple things. And then what do we do? Oh, I think I do some outside stuff. As I said, I don't know. I did this one in a few different days, and so kind of coming back and forth to it. And also I did it like a week ago, which is wild to think that I was reading A Lost Hero like a week ago. I actually think it's more than a week ago, but somewhere along that time frame, because I just literally finished Mark of Athena, which is the 3rd book, and Lost Hero is the 1st book in that series. So yeah, But here we are doing the backyard. I gave them a nice little pool area because I imagine well, in LA you need a pool, and also there's like a huge backyard on these lots. Well, these lots are huge, and I didn't want to do that massive of a house. Like, it's a relatively small house. It's only one level. I could have done a basement or something, but I don't know. Basements are always hard because literally anything without windows is hard. But because basements most likely don't have windows, and it's hard to like add in windows and like make it blend in from the exterior, I don't tend to do them a lot. And I also don't tend to do pools a lot because I live in the Midwest where there's no like in-ground pools. Like, there's above ground pools. There's in-ground pools if you're rich enough, but there's not a lot of, it's not in season very often. It requires a lot of maintenance and is decently expensive to install. Also, I don't really enjoy pools, so I don't know how to swim. I mean, I know how to swim. I just am not very good at it, and therefore I do not like. But yeah, I also added an in-ground hot tub because I figured that would be kind of fun for them to host little parties at. Eventually I don't know why I say eventually. Literally at the very end, I add a fireplace over there. But yeah, then I was trying to find like a pergola, and I ended up like making, well, first off, I was going to do fairy lights, and I left this in because I wanted to show you that not every one of my ideas works out. One of my friends had mentioned that it's kind of reassuring to show like people like going through their thought process and trying to find things that don't work. And so I've been trying to cut less on my videos, which is also a little bit unfortunate because then you are stuck listening to me longer, which, I mean, maybe some of you want to listen to me, because I know that sometimes it's really nice to just put on these like as a body double. But yeah, wild to think that some people just put these on to listen to me talk. Strange. I can't even get my students to talk to me, or not to talk to me. I can get them to talk to me. I can't get them to listen to me. But here's where I kind of make like that a makeshift pergola out of fences, and I don't do any like fun patterns. It's literally just a whole bunch of little squares, and it's gonna take, well, thankfully it sped up for you, but it took me forever, like going through hammering all of these little guys. And then after I did this, I realized that I actually wanted it to be in black, so then I had to go back and change it. And I also added in these really fun columns that light up from, I believe they're from Get Famous. Oh wait, no, I think they're actually from City Living. Yeah, they seem a lot more City Living than Get Famous, but it is from one of those two packs. And here's where I'm going through and I'm changing every single one of the colors to black. I thought I took this out, but I guess not. That is the microphone. You do not need to breathe into it. Thank you, though. I thought I edited it out, but I was editing this game while watching Thea, please stop breathing into the microphone. I am so sorry for this pet ASMR, and her hair is on the microphone. Cute. So cute. Do you mind leaving us now, or are you going to stay for the entire video? She, like, looks over at the desk and is like, I don't know what you're talking about or who you're talking to. You look a little crazy. But she's like, can I get some attention, please? She is the biggest attention gal. There's also, I remember recording this, I was having a little bit of a conversation with my mother, a little bit upset about her lack of communication, and so I forgot to record me picking out that lamp, and then over in the corner in that little grill area, I also added a mini fridge and a drink tray and a plant. Similarly, I also didn't record a majority of the second bedroom for a similar reason, which is very unfortunate. I also added a little chair over there by the grill. I imagine it's for whoever's manning the grill just wants a chair to sit down, because I know that if I was manning the grill, I wouldn't want to like go around. I mean, I could pull one of the bar stools over, but like that chair looks a lot more comfortable than a bar stool. I also only add one umbrella, which is kind of interesting, but I figured that like there's only 2 people who live here, and the odds of all 4 people wanting an umbrella is unlikely. I also clutter up the little end table here. That end table is from Growing Together, ? I think so. I don't know. Brain empty. And now we're going back inside. We're going to do the dining room, where I struggled for the longest time to figure out what kind of table I wanted. And then I was like, ugh. I honestly have such a big pet peeve with so many of the Sims, like, dining tables and chairs, because I'm like, these chairs would not push in. They just wouldn't. These ones would for the most part, but like how they are sitting currently, they like wouldn't push in. And that's like such a strange thing for me to like overthink about, but it causes me to overthink, and I'm like, these chairs won't get pushed in. And then sometimes I have to be like, Allison, this is The Sims. It's okay. Like, it's gonna be okay. And just reassure myself that these chairs aren't ever gonna be pushed in. But yeah, we just add some artwork, and then I add like this fancy wall sculpture. I think it's from Dine Out, if I'm being honest. I don't add in things like this often. Well, I wanted to add in these nectar things, and I was like, okay, that light in the background looks a little bit crazy. We're not going to do that. But yeah, there I had that little thing, and I moved the plant over to the other side, and that's pretty much a majority of this room complete. And then I think we move into the kitchen, where I did include all of it. Yeah. And I use the countertops that are from Dream Home Decorator. I almost said Dine Out. That's not Dine Out. And I kind of did a mismatch. I used the counters that are from Dine Out, and then I used Jungle Adventure like stove and fridge, and then I ended up using Jungle Adventure like shelving and like upper cabinets, which I kind of found interesting. It was kind of like a two-tone, which I don't do very often, especially like with different packs, just because the like the styles of them don't match. But I thought that these two matched decently well, and they weren't totally different like two tones. But you'll see I added like a little island area, and then I went through and I added in those shelves I was just talking about from Jungle Adventure. And I didn't clutter them up too much, because I imagined that, like, first off, I mean, I imagine these YouTubers were fairly young, but like, when you're young, you don't have that much stuff to clutter a bit up. But I did give them a really expensive espresso machine. I imagine that, I don't think it's actually functional, because I came with Get Together, not Get to Work. There's too many Get to. Too many Get tos. But I don't think it works without, like, the grinder machine or whatnot. But it looks really fancy, and I feel like everyone just, like, wants, like, these super fancy espresso machines. And I imagine that they make, like, super aesthetic days of my life with said espresso machine. And here's where I pull out, like, those Jungle Adventure two tones that I was talking about, where I add, like, the plates, and then the other one above the fridge, and then I add in some lovely like lighting over the island and a little rug. But I really wish that there was more overhead lighting. That's something that I struggle with. I find it really hard to use the ones we have, which is why I usually just default to the the subtle saucer light, which is just basically recessed lighting. But I always try to like do something different, and it doesn't always work out. And here I am reaching for my favorite, what are those called? Curtains. See, this is the bad thing about me not talking to anyone all day. Like, we're like halfway through the video, and I'm like, what are those things you put over a window? Ah, yes, a curtain. That's what they're called. I use this Dream Home Decorator. I literally, like, the word is, like, I keep doing this. Like, the word is on my tip of my tongue, and I just cannot think of it to save my life. It's a couch. And then I use the Dream Home Decorator chair, and that rug is from Love Struck. And I use that little vinyl record player. I end up moving it here in a second and putting some bookshelves over there, just to kind of help take up a little more room. Something I've also been trying to do a lot more of is adding in little lamps. That's not something I personally do, like, in my style, but it's just because I have a hard time finding lamps that I like in real life. But The Sims 4, there's a lot of really good lamps. So I should really use it more, and I've been trying to do it more. And here come those bookshelves. These bookshelves I also have been overusing just a tad bit. You'll see that I'm going to use them in this one, and then also in the build that I'm going to post next. In the, I like using, so with, what is this, Dream Home Decorator, there's bookshelves that attach to the wall, and there's ones that stick to the floor, which I don't know if that makes sense to a lot of you, but on them they're like the same but a little bit different, and so I like using them mixed matched together. It's a little bit harder, or it takes a little bit of fiddling to make sure that they line up correctly, but then it doesn't look like the same bookshelf copied and pasted, which I really like. I also added the thermostat and the burglar alarm. I've been realizing I haven't been adding the thermostat to like any of my builds recently, which low-key kind of sucks, because the thermostat, I always play with the thermostat when I play Sims, because I don't want my, well, first off, I don't like being hot, so why would I make my Sims be hot? Second off, why wouldn't I, like, give my Sims a better reason to be more comfortable? We're also going to pretend, here in a second, I'm going to pull out these giant keys. We're going to imagine that those are, like, their YouTube plaques, and not just keys. But also I added, like, the mosquito stuff, magazines, and cameras, and I add a little rug, and then I think we're going to go in and do the bedroom next. I pulled out that Love Struck bed. I tried to use it in this bedroom. I once again tried to use it in the other bedroom. I think I might have used it in the next coming build, because I was like, this fits so perfectly. This guy would have this bed. But you'll have to wait and see for how I utilized it in the next apartment build that we'll be posting. But this is kind of the one where I thought maybe did tarot. She just got like some earth moon. She's kind of a little bit more of a free spirit, I imagined. Really into kind of the light purple, like lilac colors, which is really pretty. And we've been getting a lot of really fun prints of recently. So not recently, but I mean kind of recently. I don't know what you consider recent in The Sims 4. I also use this really fun like fake canopy that comes in high school years. Also very fun. How many times when I say fun, so I start saying fetch like they do in Mean Girls? It's just so fetch, like Gretchen does. I also realized that I used that single rose that came in high school years with like the keys and the Polaroid camera a lot, but I feel like it just is so fitting. I feel like every tweenie girl went through that Polaroid phase, and then they still have them. I also didn't do matching bedstands, which I think is kind of nice, and I should probably start doing, because I feel like maybe it's a little bit more realistic that you wouldn't have matching nightstands if you're a single person, and maybe you would have a lamp instead. But yeah, that's pretty much all for this bedroom, and then we're gonna go in to the, what are we doing now? Oh, we're doing the other room, and this is where a little bit of the build is gonna get cut off, and by a little bit I mean a majority of this room gets cut off because I was dealing with family issues. So much fun, so fresh, we love it. We don't love it, but it was fine. But I kind of did more of a blue theme in this one to kind of go with the bathrooms, like their bathrooms match their vibe. And I also really liked it. You're not going to see it here, like here we just straight cut to what it is, but I also use like the wall lights. I feel like that happens a lot in more real life, and I like never do it in my builds, so I was like, oh, this will be perfect. I'll like put these. This one does have like matching headboards. I imagine that this is more of like the quote-unquote primary bedroom because it has the attached bath. We have a jungle adventure mirror. I put in a fake camper. I also do add in. Oh my god. Words are so hard for me, but in this garage studio space, I do add in laundry. I also add in kind of a fun wallpaper. It's not like that fun. It's like the base game, like colorful dots one, but I didn't want it to be too crazy and distracting, but I still wanted it to be like a recognizable backdrop that you might see in like a YouTube video. You'll see that I did use like the video station that comes in Get Famous. I also add in like the little streamer guy. You can make a decent amount of money from that little streamer guy. So many times, like when I'm doing like the 100 baby challenge, I'll just have like my person like live stream while she's painting, and then you're like making money from the live stream. You're making money from the painting. Pro tip. But yeah, I add in these pink washers and dryers. I also add in some mirrors over here, and then like the glam station from Get Famous. I think that it's functional. I've actually never tried to use it off of like the movie sets that you go to when you're in the actor career and Get Famous. But I figured it would be perfect. Like one of them could be sitting in the chair and they could be getting ready, or they could, this is just a thought that came to me and that's why I might sound a little bit more excited, or they like could have been recording like a makeover for someone. I also add in like the trunk of costumes that came in with Love Struck here in a second. You also see I pulled out the blanket. I put that in the yard. Because obviously these are YouTuber girls. They gotta have a little bit of fun. Who knows what they're recording? But, yeah. I also add in, like, those racks of clothes. I add in, like, I add in the fairy lights. I remember that, but I forgot that for a second. But I do add in, like, this calendar from Discover University. I imagine maybe it's, like, their filming schedule, and then, like, some laundry detergent, and then we go into their office, where I defaultly give them, like, the Mac, because, like, what YouTuber girl is... Oh, no, I feel like I give them the Mac. Here I'm going through a couple different options, but I think I just pull out the Mac and I'm like, yes. Like, I was like, no, because I overuse that PC so much, but it's just so pretty. Like, how it's so pretty and simple. I say as I was literally talking about throwing my Mac outside the window because I couldn't figure out why my microphone wasn't working. Turns out you needed to go into the sound settings and turn it on. Anyway, I was doing so much better. I had the thought about how I was like, yes, my mental health is a little bit better now that I'm in this video. Because, like, was going to try to do this, and then I was like, no, it's not working. I will just ignore it for a while. And then I was just crocheting, and then one of my friends said they could help me figure it out, and I was like, okay, I'll, like, go get it, try to figure it out. And all to realize that I just had to go into a setting that I hadn't checked before, which is why you probably couldn't hear the good sound quality, and you were probably like, this sounds like a tiny bit better than before, but it's not like this amazing microphone that you were like being like they didn't need to buy for. Like, I feel like this is a mid microphone, but hopefully now the microphone is working like it should be, and it sounds a lot better. Because before I think it was just going, I would think I was wearing my AirPod Maxes, and so I think it was just going off that microphone, which was better than the other microphone I was using, but probably not as good as this microphone. At least I hope that this one sounds better, otherwise I'm gonna sound crazy. I also went back and added in the mosquito, like, camera stuff there. I also didn't record a lot of me doing the landscaping, but it was a lot of just this debug trees and then those bushes, and then we're going around to add some wildflower bushes. I think we're getting towards the end of the build though here. So thank you guys all so much for watching. Actually, I think there's a good chunk of me doing landscaping, so I won't do my outro quite yet, but I do want to thank you for watching, and make sure you leave a like and subscribe to my channel and all these other good things, because now I'm posting twice a week. And I had to, like, drag out this outro for a little while longer because I started saying it just a bit too early. But yeah, I hope you guys all had a good and happy Thanksgiving. You ate a lot of good food, or at the very least you spent the time doing something that you enjoyed, even if it's not eating or not spending time with family. Like, you don't have to, like, be thankful for all those things. I feel like so often people are like, oh, I'm so thankful for my family and for blah, 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 and blah, 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 and it's just, like, so stereotypical, and they're like, and it's your turn, you're like, well, I'm not thankful for any of those things, actually, which is totally normal and totally valid, and I'm here to validate those things for you, because sometimes you don't feel thankful for those things, and that's okay as well. Deep talks now. We're getting into philosophical talks, but yeah, we're just adding some dumpsters. We'll add in a mailbox, a trash can, some little flowers, and then it's just some terrain paint. I added in that fireplace like I said I was going to. Add in another little tree. Make sure that my roofing is all good. Here I am trying to mess with it and see if I can't fix it a little bit. Realized I couldn't, so we just left it. But like I said, this build is available on the gallery under my Origin ID or under the hashtag #AlpelsGames. All of it you can see in the description box below. Thank you guys so much for joining me lately. I'm so sorry you had to listen to me talk for this long, especially since I haven't talked for this long in a very long time. But I'll catch you guys all next time. Bye!